are so happy to be here with you today. And you can tell we are at the top of the mountain here in the extraordinary valley that we are blessed to call our home in Ecuador, coming to you in the essence and the energy of remembrance. And I want to invite you to bring your hand to your heart today, because the reason that Hank and I are up here is that we are at a moment of divine remembrance. And I know that your heart is calling you to that. I know that you're feeling that. You're wondering what's happening to our planet. What's going to happen tomorrow? Should I be worried? What is coming in next? Well, all of that arrives when we say yes to the remembrance and when we invite that remembrance to come in. So I want you to sit back and relax as we expand consciousness. I am Kira.
I am Hank.
And we are so grateful you are here to remember with us today.
Thank you for sharing your time with us, and we are so honored that you have chosen to be here. And if you are joining Kira and I for the first time, I'm going to start again. Thank you for sharing your time with us today, and we are so honored that you have chosen to be here with us. And if you are joining Kira and I for the first time, welcome. Those of you who have experienced our previous 11 shows, I trust that you've benefited from it and from the progression of them. This is a very exciting series, and we're so happy to bring it to you. The awarenesses that are presented touch on both the spiritual and humanistic lives that we are living. Our work centers on self-ascension, living your true I, in being and experiencing who you are at your core, and fostering another to be who they are. Kira and I offer the pathway forward in Series 1 entitled The I, with the intention of sharing insights and a down-to-earth formula through which one can achieve an enlightened state of being, the state of conscious awareness. Presence, awareness, intention, transformation. And it begins with being present.
It does.
And presence leads to an awareness. Awareness can guide one to an intention. And your intention opens the gateway, illuminating one's ability to choose to transform or transcend. I
want you to breathe that in for a second. What Hank just said there, we choose. We choose to transform or transcend, and that is the moment at hand. And I wanted to share with you right now that Hank and I are transcending about 1 million bugs to be here with you right now. So if you see us jumping around, it's because we're enjoying the outdoors as much as I hope you are with us.
So if you happen to notice me scratching and moving more than Kira, my blood runs incredibly sweet, and they all know it, these Incan
It's true.
flies.
It's really true.
So let me just enlighten you a little bit about Series 1 and take you through it. And as I mentioned, it's centered on the I. The first program we ran was on forgiveness. Then we moved to peace. Our third show was the forgotten. Fourth program was on trust. The fifth, thoughts. The sixth, on thankfulness. The seventh, honor. The eighth was on patience. Our ninth program was a story. Our 10th program last week was acceptance. Actually, it was before.
Yeah,
it was 2 weeks
ago.
before. I guess we're moving at a fast pace.
Yes, we are. Very.
Our 11th program was the gift.
Yeah.
This program is on remembrance. And the final 2 programs will be on rebirth next week and I am, which will be our finale for this season. Today's program, entitled Remembrance, the Known. It is all about feeling into who we are, who one truly is at their core and in their essence and in their light, that beautiful being of purity, of innocence that welcome us into this life, radiating with light. Remembrance can be experienced in various ways and at differing levels. Perhaps it's a déjà vu, that feeling of familiarity, of having met another person in a prior time, or recognizing with an unmistakable clarity a physical environment as having been there before, although it was new. Or quite possibly a distinctive reassuring feeling reminiscent of something that was so vivid, so clear to you, though you have no recollection, or a context from which to identify or place it in. It's almost as if this remembrance is a nebulous, somewhat mysterious impression. However, it distinctly exists in the ultra-high color resolution and in ways that reflect a coherent sense of reality.
True.
Quite possibly, the remembrance is an imprint from another time, past, present, or future.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps. Could the remembrance be a connection to the past? Look around. Quite possibly so. Whether in this lifetime or in another, consider the remembrance may be a future time experience as well. And I'm sure Kira will share with all of us shortly about her calling here, which was a beautiful picture of remembrance. So I invite you to do that.
Thank you. I would love to, because you see where we're sitting.
Perhaps that remembrance is embodied, an embodied understanding, experiencing what it is to be human, to share with humans across their evolution, what humans call the awarenesses, the teachings, and the lessons. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, it's for us as humans to do with these teachings as they so choose. These understandings are recognized as the known. There has always been the known, for it has existed throughout millennium, across all space and time. The known is the primary reason we chose to come to Earth. It is my purpose, my calling, to share with all who are ready and willing to receive these profound insights, to lead by example, and to experience the total essence of humanity. These insightful understandings, be they ancient, be they ancestral, or of this time, are knowledge received across lifetimes. They are universal truths to be shared as a means of achieving the profound and beautiful state that we call self-ascension. The inherent knowledge and sacred teachings are shared throughout visionary receivers who are tasked with opening the door and awakening one from ill-informed, misguided preconceptions of greed, of power, of dominance, and suffering.
Yeah.
Each of us carries within us an embodiment of this vast and deep knowledge that has traveled across time and space. These insights can be the catalyst, inviting a profound effect on one's life as they live. Excuse me.
Water break.
Tequila.
Please.
Tea.
Por favor.
These insights can be a catalyst, inviting a profound effect on one's life, as well as the lives of many, and shift the world to an expanded health and well-being.
Hank, you always, the words that Hank shares are so important. And I know that you're listening and you're paying attention. And I really, Hank had mentioned earlier, I'm going to take off my glasses because I really want to look you in the eye on this one. But he had mentioned about this land and what called me here to this land. And I was going to talk about my near-death experience today. And I know that many of you have heard my near-death experience, but this is more of a cosmic remembrance. And I think that we're all at that time. And you know what? My glasses idea is going out the window because the sun's in my eyes. So what I will share with you is this. When I was living in Uruguay, and a lot of people always ask me, they're like, how did you find this land? How did you wind up here? What happened? Well, when I was living in Uruguay, I was sitting out on the playa one night. It was a beautiful night in Uruguay, meditating. And God's honest truth, the brightest star I ever saw showed up, and I heard Ecuador. And I had this vision that it was the mountain, that it was a very old house, and that it was a lot of property. And went online, and within just a couple days discovered this property. And it was the last listing at a very old real estate website, and it had been on the market 2 years. And the minute I looked at it, I had this sense of knowing, and so booked tickets and arrived in Ecuador a week later. What I can share with you is that when I was able to step on this land, And how many times have we all had this same experience? I'm going to share because I know you have, and this is why I'm sharing this experience. My foot stepped what is now the driveway, at that time was just a mud trail, and I put my foot on that driveway and I couldn't stop crying. And I was having profound visions. I mean, just profound visions of light and remembrances of a time when this planet was here at the seeding of Gaia herself, when each of us was a piece of Gaia, are we not? When we were carrying the gift of honoring what this is, and when mastery was a part of that. And I walked up the property and began to feel and see, and I could feel the pain the property was in. I could feel the crying of the trees. I could see the sadness, the lack of bounty. But when I touched what is now the main hacienda area, the main two-story, very old Bajareke home, I put my arms on the one corner and felt a spiral energy. So I built a spiral staircase there. And when I held that, I saw very, very quickly, like in seconds, I saw life, death, marriages, children. It was like the home showed me all of its evolutions over the past 200 years. And then I just walked into one room, and this was the clincher, like all of this wasn't the clincher. Because how many times does the universe have to tell you more than once? How many times do you have to keep saying yes? How many times do you know, but then the mind takes over and the universe is like, really? You need more? You want more? Do you want me to add more to that checklist for you? Do you want to read the small print? Well, let me give you some small print, right? That's what it's about, isn't it? And so the universe did that to me. And I walked in, we had 3 little rooms at the bottom of this very old structure, the one that I had put my arms on. And I walked into a room that reeked of turpentine. The floor was dirt, and there was things hanging from very dirty walls. But the minute my foot stepped over the threshold, and this has never happened before or since, on the wall out of the Bajareke was a violet lightning bolt that came out, and my head literally moved. And in that 1 second, I saw the healing room, and I knew. I saw a future, I saw a past, I saw it all come together. And what I said was yes. And that's the moment, is that when we remember, do you trust what you're remembering? Do you trust your vision? Do you trust what you're feeling? And this is the gift of remembrance, because the gift of remembrance means, as Hank was saying, the known. And many of you know my near-death experience. I won't take a lot of time with that right now. I'm going to talk about it next week. But what I will share with you is this. When you have been through the gateway, when you have walked through to the other side, I always first think of Krishnamurti, right? One of the beautiful things Krishnamurti said was, until you wake up, you are not responsible. It's not that you get a get out of jail free card. It means that you have been unable to see from the higher perspective the actions and thereby how to respond to them. And when you arise into that, you will often wonder what took you so long. Had you known what was waiting, you would have run to the other side. That's what the known does. The known becomes that which no one can take from you. And that's why I go to Gandhi, because Gandhi used to say that, did he not? And I remember when I was at Gandhi's memorial several times, this always gets me, that Gandhi's discussion of, put me in jail, you can break my bones, you can do whatever you want, but you're never going to get me. Because that is a known. That is the remembrance that creates and calls miracles into form. And that's really why we're here. That's why Hank and I are up on the mountain today, because this is at a moment for us to remember why we are here. Why are we here? Why are we in these forms? Why are we reverse aging? Why are we demonstrating to you that self-ascension is the opportunity to fully remember the perennial philosophies? This is Spinoza and Huxley, right? The perennial philosophies. Why did we take birth? To remember who we are while we are in this body of form. And in order to do that, you've got to really trust yourself. That's the gift of self-ascension. And that's why we're here.
So beautiful.
Thanks, Hank.
So when Kira bought this property 9-10 years ago, she didn't know about this part of the mountain. This incredibly sacred part. You're only looking at one of these amazing stones that include petroglyphs and carvings from over 2,500 years ago. So we've only walked up right now to the first plateau. Actually, we're on the second one, I think, right now. And there's 5 in total. So remembrance, that deep sense that you just got to do this. I don't think she crossed the Incan Canal to walk up here for many weeks. And that is amazing below us. But up here, it's a whole nother space.
So true.
At a much earlier time, beginning at the dawn, creation of life began. And with it, there was a synchronicity, mutual coexistence, symbiotic relationships. It was a time where plants and early life forms thrived. 66 million years ago, a cataclysmic asteroid struck the Earth, ending the reign of the dinosaurs and photosynthesis, which in turn resulted in 75% of all species dying. It is from that point Earth experienced a rebirth.
Yeah.
Next show.
Yes,
And life
it is.
began again as we know it. The evolution of Earth's life forms, including pre-human and human, exists through mutualism, and that's where both species benefit. Through commensalism, where one species benefits and the others remain neutral. And through parasitism, where only one species benefits and the other is harmed.
Yeah.
Near the beginning of human evolution, there was a morphing within mankind. Some chose to seek a self-fulfilling path, a path of greed, a path of hate, a path of power. These are what we call the takers. And very sadly, it is the takers who have far away taken over the givers. Through sheer numbers alone and through self-obsession, the human experience has darkened.
Yeah.
And aren't we seeing it?
I mean, it's all over, right? You can see that. So breathe through that because there is a way through.
With life as a Neanderthal, we worked together as a clan.
Yeah.
We were the givers. A term that Daniel Quinn describes so well in his book, Ishmael. The givers are those that share communal-based living, and they coexist in ways that are mutually beneficial. The takers, the ones that are primarily self-focused, are what many have become. Though the givers still exist today in the indigenous and throughout us as conscious beings, the takers have proliferated on an explosive scale.
Yes.
Look around. Understand what has taken place over the last 500 years, in just the last 150 years, and what exists in the here and now today. In this series, we focused on the I and understanding of self through presence and awareness. Throughout human evolution, the world has lost meaningful aspects of our humanness. We have forgotten what it is to be human. More profoundly, we no longer remember what humanity is all about. The important attributes of love, caring, sharing, supporting, giving, receiving. To self, to another, to the fauna and flora, and certainly to Mother Earth herself.
Absolutely.
Expressing oneself through our actions and inactions, through communication and connection to the world around us, we experience the depth of our humanness, as it is rich in love and caring. For we are here to honor ourselves, support another, and put into practice Earth stewardships for all.
Oh, yes. And you know, this is, I really want to share that, to put into practice the Earth stewardship. How many of you right now are remembering, that it's important we take care of our planet? I remember when I did my internship with the EPA during college at Washington, D.C. What are we doing? What are we doing to say yes? What are we doing to protect this? 10 years ago, the universe reached out its hand and said, this was worth protecting. This is worth protecting. And when you gaze around here, we are the only project, Hank and I are carrying the only project around here that is actively preserving the natural flora, protecting the natural fauna, making sure that this exists. 3 years ago, well, it was 3 years 3 years after I was living here, so about 7 years ago now, I remember the day when a little Kenyardi man came up to me and knew this crazy woman with the black hair that was running around tying ribbons on trees and talking to them. And suddenly there was fruit here again. And suddenly there was activity here again. And suddenly the indigenous were here again. And they walked me up this mountain and showed me where Hank and I are sitting right now. And right over there, and when you come to our retreat, we're going to bring you up here and you're going to see this. Right over there is the wall of what the Kenyari people, who are the people of light, the Dogon of South America, to what they believe is their missing temple of light. And we have had the honor of working with them, and I have had the honor of being adopted by them. And I want to share with you that next week, I want you to mark on your calendar on Saturday, if you're catching it live, Saturday, April 25, I want you to be there that day in spirit when Hank and I will be celebrating with the Kenyari, because they are aware of this moment of remembrance as well. And we will be capturing film from that and including you in that so that you're aware of what's happening. Why am I saying that? Because this is ground zero right now. We are a temple of light, as I know there are others around the world. And this is the foundation of our multi-day retreat. This is why Hank and I were called here. We are visionaries, as are you. And you are in your moment of remembrance. We are sitting right here in an ancient temple on an ancient Incan trail. And right now, the community is rising again. We are coming back together. We are at that moment where we are all remembering. You found your way to this episode because your heart and your soul are already aware. So check it out. Go to iamcarrot.net and get here. The opening is now, and this will just be part of the journey. It's really extraordinary, Hank.
Absolutely extraordinary.
Such an honor.
We invite you to join us here at our home at 12 Hummingbirds. As Kira said, it is situated on 25 acres of sacred Inca, pre-Inca, and Canary land up here in the Andes, and share in a profound journey together and experience in being in our upcoming retreat entitled The Opening, Creating the Pathway Forward. It's July 31st to August 7th of this year. In this journey of self-reflection, we will share together in an insightful experience focused on the I. Dive deep into those aspects of oneself that are restrictive. Release the feelings of inadequacy that many feel and the non-truths that holds one back from experiencing the true I. That beautiful state that is. That one is.
In every way.
It is through the gift of awakening that we realize self-ascension and have the ability to integrate conscious practices. Allow yourself the gift to experience the freedom to be. Let us all experience this extraordinary gift of the freedom to be. Be who we are in our light and foster that safe space for another to be who they are beyond judgment and expectation. Dive deep, soar high in the knowing, in remembering, for one does not need to become. One is. You are. I am. And we are. Be present. Be aware. Feel your heart. Express the love within and radiate.
Namaste. We love you. See you soon.